everybody. This is episode 28. This is a fantastic episode. I'm very proud of this episode. I'm very proud of all of them, actually. But this was actually pretty cool because I was able to do this show live at my favorite bar here in Tacoma, called the Valley. It is downtown Tacoma, right off of Tacoma Dome. So check out the Valley. Here it is. Here's the Valley right here. And anyway, and so how this happened was that 10 for 50 stitches. We were planning on this episode. He goes, "Why don't I ask Peter to have the show live at the Valley?" I'm like, "Huh? You think Peter would do it?" So I asked him, and boom, here we are. So it was a very awesome episode. I got to talk to Tam for 15 Stitches and then his buddy Steve from Chasing Pennies, which I realized I have seen them before, but I didn't realize until I went back through some things. Anyway, some old show programs I'm doing for my graphic design thing. If you guys are interested else, I do go to shellpixi.com and I do a more graphic design stuff. So go check that out. All righty. And I also got to talk to Benny from Nance Pingita Lily. Told me that Benny was a professional, and he is a professional. He did bring in all his collections of all of the harmonicas he does play, and more tidbits. Okay, so this show was pretty cool, and I'm hoping to do more shows into the future. Okay, so I'm really excited and proud of this episode. So, in further ado, enjoy the final. I do have one more episode. It's going to be a rewind. I'm going to try to do that one, but I'm having computer issues, so I'm going to load this episode up and try to fix some stuff so that way I can actually do the last rewind, and that'll be episode 29. Okay, all righty. So here you guys go, live at the Valley. Let's talk about the music, because the music is going everywhere, baby. All righty. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Again, I'm graduating June 18th. Woohoo! I'm Shels from Letstalkaboutthemusic. I've been doing this project for 10 years, and I took some time to go to school to learn how to do this professionally at Green River College, and I'm graduating on June 18th with my AA degree. My mission was to go to school to build a radio station for the independent musicians, and I did do that. Spent $8,000 on it, but I had no help or any staff, so I closed it, and I decided to redo the talk show. So here I am, do the talk show, and one of my studies is that they used to have radio DJs go all over the world and broadcast their station. So that's what I want to bring back to the community, what I'm learning at school. So what we're going to be doing is that I'm going to do the history. The show is on harmonicas, and I'm changing the show into a webinar and a little bit of history of the topic. So it's on harmonica, so I have a brief history of it, and then we're going to interview these guys about them playing harmonica sessions, and then I will have a Q&A if you guys want to ask these guys some questions. And then I also have a section called Hot Seat, so where these guys ask me one question each. And then after that, we'll have a jam session of Benny and these guys playing. And maybe if we drag Peter up here, maybe he'll play too. Huh? Maybe? So it's an idea. So never know. And this is my camera woman right here I volunteered. So. Alrighty, so here we go. Here's a little bit of history of the harmonicas. Okay, so the early originals was a harmonica roots traced back to 1100 BC with the Chinese. Instrument made from bamboo tubes that used free feeds to create sound. The curtain eventually influenced their harmonica development procedures later. In 1978, envisioned a talking machine using feed reels to a mimic machine. By the 1820s, harmonica emerged in Germany thanks to Joseph Richards, envisioned a blow and draw system we use today. The Germans brought the harmonicas in the U.S. in the 19th century. centuries. A clockmaker founded a harmonica company in 1957, spreading the instrument across the folks, blues, country, and music scene. Now, between World War I and World War II, harmonicas shine and film blues legends like the Sonny Boy Williams II or second, and the Little Walter made the harmonicas healing with voice and the blues music. Now, in harmonica found is home to rock, folk, R&B, thanks to artists like Bobby Dylan, Bruce Springsteen, and Steve Wonder, and a visually and a raw accepting development into modern music. Now, from the Chinese to Chinese American blues clubs, harmonicas, journeys, powers in the power, and the flexibility in the music instrument and story of the genre. So, today, we're going to talk to these three gentlemen about how they came to be playing harmonica. But first things first, Papa Satch, play his song for me. Well, actually, Peter, play the theme song for me, would you? Hit it, Peter. Ha-ha. Maybe.
Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the band. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the sound. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the music.
All right, welcome to episode 29, live at the Valley. And we have guests here who play harmonica. We're going to go around the room here to have a conversation, get to know these guys, because this show will be eventually audio and visual. It's going to be on Audio Boom and wherever you're spending your podcast, and also on YouTube, where you guys can actually watch these beautiful faces on real time. Alrighty? So, first things first, we're going to go with So Steve, we're going to start with Steve, go Benny, and we're going to go to Tim. So Steve, tell us all about you.
Well, my name is Steve Ward. I am in a band called Chasing Pennies. We're a punk band. Got everybody here. I'm from here in Tacoma. Moved around a lot, but came back here about 20 years ago and just recently got back into music about 5-6 years ago. So.
All right, and how long have you been playing the harmonica?
About 5-6 years.
Okay, all right. And who's your inspiration?
Chuck Reagan.
All right, there you go. All right, Mr. Benny, tell us about you.
Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Benny Bostrom. I'm a native Washington born harmonica player. That's primarily what I play. I've lived in Puyallup, Tacoma, Federal Way, kind of all around the place. You know, I play a lot of pickup stuff, and I've done some studio work for some people in the area. I've been playing harmonica for a very long time. I'm sure we'll get into all of the nuance of that and all of the weird pieces of what that means. But when I say a long time, I was telling you earlier, it's been like 20 years. My dad gave me one when I was like 8 years old, and for some reason it's the only thing I couldn't put down. So that's me.
Nice. Now, who inspired, besides your dad, who inspires you to play the harmonica?
It was not my dad that inspired me. My dad is a harmonica player, but as soon as I started playing harmonica, he saw the kind of trend, and then he's like, I don't want to do that anymore.
Oh no.
So he stopped doing that. He plays a bunch of other things. He plays like guitar, trombone, drums, and a bunch of stuff like that. But one of my biggest influences, I think, is a man named Jason Ritchie, who's down in New Orleans, who's also a very good friend of mine. There's a couple of other traditional blues guys who are very big influences on me as well, because they really can't not be.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Tim, tell us all about you. Nice.
My name is Tim. I'm the lead singer for a couple of bands here in Tacoma. It's Tremor Cats and 15 Stitches. I play a little bit of harmonica with those guys. I basically started playing because years ago, probably about 2010 or 11, I was in a blues band with some other folks that I knew way back. And being just a 4-piece, it got a little boring in between verses, so I decided to just try to pick it up, and I just went from there. I've been doing music basically my whole life. My dad was a singer-songwriter. I grew up performing with him, and so that's just what I do. It's just something that I just picked up to add a little bit to, what I'm doing with my bands and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. And if I had to say like any kind of influence I've had with harmonica, I think that my favorite sound is going to be someone like Howlin' Wolf, because it doesn't sound anything traditional of a lot of the other things that people are playing. I really like that kind of thing. So.
Cool. Right on. All right. So we already talked a little bit about it, but let's go into your first time playing harmonica. So let's go to your very first time. Cam, we'll go back to you.
What did you say?
Was it the very first time you played a harmonica?
I was probably a kid. Yeah, I mean the very first time.
Yeah.
Most instruments that I've ever played, I was probably a kid when I played them first. And I had a friend of my dad's named Mark. He had a whole sack of harmonicas. I remember he had a bag. It was a Crown World bag. I was so young I didn't know what Crown World was back then, but I remember that purple bag with the gold string. You don't forget that. Well, we'd go fishing and stuff like that with my dad. He would sit around and play. That's probably the first time I heard anybody play.
Nice.
When I was 6, 8 years old, something like that.
Cool. All right, Benny, how about you? When was your first time playing a guitar? The harmonica. All right, Ron, yesterday.
I could also tell you about the first time playing guitar. My dad bought me one of those when I was 8, and I touched it twice and said, I hate this. So, no, I don't. The only string instrument I get along with is bass. But my dad bought me the harmonica, and it came with a book. He got me a book to go with it, and it was a lot of like folk songs, stuff like that. Very like traditional like harmonica stuff. I kind of played some of that for a little while, and then as kids do, I ventured off to do something else because I was like, man, I can't do one thing for more than 2 weeks. So I did that, and then it was kind of on and off, and I picked it up here and there. I learned some additional techniques, kind of put it away for a while, learned some additional techniques, put it away for a while, and then at some point it was just kind of like, oh, I actually know quite a bit about this thing. So it was very on and off again, but it was pretty much just when he put it in my hands, it was kind of it. I jammed a little bit here and there, but yeah, that about sums it up.
Nice. All right. And Steve?
Yeah, I started playing, like I said, about 5, 6 years ago. A buddy of mine wanted to start playing music, and I had played before, very little, more vocals than anything else. And I wanted to learn how to play the acoustic guitar, and slow start, so I bought a harmonica to go with it. I used to get all my music from skate videos growing up, because I grew up as a skateboarder. So and there was this one video when I was a kid that was it had a band called Wonderful Broken Toys. They had this one song like that harmonica in it, and I just loved it. So I was like, I kind of want to bring that sound into it. So I bought one harmonica. I bought a G and just tried to make it work, and we had a lot of fun with it. And then before you know it, I was playing in a blues band. Even though I'm not a big blues guy, I just wanted to learn how to play. And so I kind of learned a few things from there, and then I kind of moved on to the guitar, and then we started the punk band. But it's nice to rebuild and bring it back. So yeah, it's like
Good.
Harmonica deserves a resurgence in popular music.
I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
I agree.
All right. So.
I might be the only one who disagrees with that.
Stop.
All right. Do you guys remember the very first song or the moment you fell in love with it? We'll start with Benny first.
Oh, the first song. Yeah, I think one of the first albums that I really remember. It's an album called His Best. And it's a Little Walter album. It's just a Chicago blues album of all of his best songs. But the first track on there is a song called Juke. If you look into blues harmonica players ever, anywhere, it's the song that for some reason everyone is obsessed with and everyone wants to play it just the way that he did, note for note. Luckily, I kind of skipped that phase, and I played 25% of it before saying, all right, I'm done with this. But just very, very different sound. He was the first individual who really started playing like amplified harmonica, and it had like a very different sound. He wanted to like imitate the way the saxophones sounded at the time, because this was like, in the 50s. So that's probably one of the ones I remember first. It was a CD that my dad had. So.
Tim?
There's probably two moments of that. The first one that really captured me by the sound was Alice in Chains' song, "Say Goodbye, Don't Follow." You know, the harmonica is haunting in that song, and it's really emotional. And then when I actually was an adult, before I found out that Lowrider had harmonica in it, I thought that was a horn too. Yeah, that really blew me away. And so then I really started to realize like there was a lot you could actually do with that instrument, and a lot more than you probably realize you're hearing. Yeah, those two things.
Yeah, I like I said, it was a band for the skate video called Shackle Me Not. It was an 8-string video for the skateboarders out there. And there was a song, just a quick little session, a quick little spot where they had a song by a band called Wonderful Broken Toys, and it's kind of an acoustic song done by like an old 80s punk rock band, and it's a real southern sound to it. It just sounded really cool, and I always loved it. And then later I got really into more punk and hardcore and stuff, and then it's funny because we were just listening to some old stuff today, and I was like, oh, I forgot there's this band called Gorilla Biscuits that used to have this harmonica in the beginning of their song, which is really amazing. It just came out of nowhere. It didn't sound like it fit a little bit, but it just really worked. And so I've just always loved the harmonica, the way that it's most people have used it for like blues and folk and stuff, but there's so many other places it's been used, and it just really has a unique sound. So I just always thought it really was a nostalgic feel when I hear it. So because I heard it as a kid, so it was, that's why I started playing it again.
Cool, very cool. Okay, I had a question.
Yeah, I have a question.
Alrighty, so how would you describe your harmonica sound or style?
If I had to describe my style, it would be very untrained.
Amen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very off the cuff, and I don't think I play anything very traditionally in really a whole lot of ways. I just because coming from where I'm at as a vocalist, I'm basically just responding to what the band is doing for me or behind me or with me. And so the harmonica tends to just kind of be an extension of the vocal melodies or something like that. It just kind of helps the song go along. It fills a little space here and there, And so to me, it's just like that. I mean, that's just how I hear it.
Cool, cool. All right, Steve, what about you? How would you describe your sound?
Man, it's whatever it needs to be. Like I don't write songs around the harmonica.
Okay.
The harmonica kind of has to fit the song. So if we play a song and then whatever key we're in, we'll match the harmonica and see if something works. And it is what it is. It's just whatever makes the song sound better. It isn't necessarily about a style. Because like you said, I'm completely untrained. Everything is self-taught. So I've just been trying to fit it into the song, whatever works.
Penny says you're a professional. You got a completely different outlook on this.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the only fair word to use, if they want to use their word, is untrained. I feel like my word should be trained.
Right.
I very stylistically I get approached by a lot of people and they tell me that like, oh man, the way that you play that thing sounds a lot different. But I usually try to keep my style very versatile to what I need to be doing. Like I said, I've done some studio work here and there. I've played like really old style, like recorded onto like a tape reel that was like super like acoustic, super like just really like roots sounding. I've played pop music with a singer-songwriter before. I sit in with a lot of jazz groups, so a lot of times I need to sound differently there. If you want to like wail away on it in like a blues context, that's not going to work. But I've played with like very serious like blues Hall of Fame like guitar players where like I need to play like I'm in Chicago, right? So I need to be very like adaptive to kind of the environment that I'm in and be very conscious of that.
Can I say something to that point?
Yeah.
I mean, being a professional, he probably understands like playing guitar or doing anything else. There are different modes of playing. There are different ways of playing. So you have to, if you're trained, you kind of got to learn these different styles so you can play with these different types of music, like what he's talking about there. And I kind of get that. That's why I call myself untrained, because I've only got the one style of music to work with.
Yeah.
Well, like on that front, it's like really funny, right? Because like at the end of the day, I'm in a very weird spot, because do you know how hard it is to walk up to a group of people and try to convince them that they need a harmonica player who's good for nothing
That's
else?
I do. That's I do.
Yeah, right. Like
It's hard enough to get my neighbors to
yeah.
listen to it.
Because like I will like sing on occasion, but I mostly prefer not to, because then I'm going to be made to do that, and I don't want to do that. It's like being a bass player. You don't let anyone know you're a bass player, because then you're playing bass for everything, right?
I feel like the opposite. I'd rather just be singing. They'll make me play harmonica when I have to.
It sounds like we could probably work something out then. That'll be.
Oh, man, you said we should keep in touch.
You're welcome.
So it ends up being really funny, right? Because I have to walk into these groups, and I have to be like a good enough harmonica player that they decide that I'm worth getting paid for doing nothing else, which is such a hard sell. The fact that I've been able to sell that to like several different groups of people means like I think I'm probably doing pretty okay for myself, right? Yeah. Right. That's always kind of my litmus test of like, are you probably doing okay as a harmonica player? Yeah.
And especially when it comes to harmonica, nothing you're doing on the harmonica is not a solo sound.
Yeah.
You know, so people are highly focused on it when they hear it, like, hey, it's harmonica. They take it out. You know, so to be professional like he is, you've really got to be at a certain level.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's really easy to make, it's really easy to make it sound good and okay, but it's also really easy to make it sound bad. It's such a high-pitched instrument that like if you do something wrong, everyone's gonna hear it, because you're like way up here in the pitch register. So
Now, do you have any influences, like artists or genres you have shaped? I can't even speak. Have you any influences or artists genre that actually help shape how you play?
do you want me to start that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Then we go to skis and go to 10.
Okay. Yeah, so going back in kind of order, it really started, everyone mentions this guy named Little Walter, but in a funny twist, there's also this guy in Chicago at the same time who went by the name Big Walter, who just had a wonderful sound, like a big tone. I could probably play some of that stuff for you. It was just such a big sound that like it captivated me like very forward, and I studied the stuff that he did like a ton. And then it came time to like become a little more modern and kind of branch out to other stuff. There was a harmonica player in Muddy Waters' band. His name is Jerry Portnoy. He's still alive. He's in Boston, close to Boston. He's in Massachusetts somewhere. Who's also just like a fantastic like melodic player and like just a wonderful person. So I studied a lot of his stuff for a while, and then I stumbled across, as I mentioned earlier, his name is Jason Ricci, who's a lot of people consider him to be the best harmonica player in the world. He can play faster than anyone else. He can play more things than anybody else. He's just a phenom, right? He's absolutely insane. And I studied a lot of stuff that he did for a very long time. To the point where I was playing a lot of his songs and having a real good time with it. I've since kind of ventured away from that because I've turned a lot of my attention to like jazz stuff. There's a couple of like Swedish jazz harmonica players that are like very, very good, and that's more what I've been doing now, but I still go back and listen to kind of all of these people very, very routinely.
All right, Steve.
I don't have any, I don't have anybody I try to mimic I hear a lot of harmonica players and a lot of the bands I listen to, and it sounds great, and I love it, and of course I try to mimic some of that sound, but for the most part I'm really it's more just whatever that moment is kind of like calling for, whatever the song we're playing is, I think of the harmonica not as like this instrument that is like the way he plays, it's just this technical sound that just is a standalone thing, which is really amazing. For me, I think of it more of an extension, I think of it like a top line to a guitar part. You know, we're like, because I can't play both, and I'm not very great at single notes, so like, it just really works well to kind of add some depth and dimension to the song. But it's really whatever the song is. I mean, I'm just, because like I said, I don't have any training, or nobody's ever showed me how to do it. So it just turned into a thing where whatever we play, we're gonna find something that works for it, and it doesn't have to sound like this is what the harmonica is typically used for. I mean, the harmonica, when you play it, it has its own unique sound. So you know when you're hearing a harmonica, you know. But at the same time, there's so much you can do with it without getting too crazy. There just really has a nice, you know, extra layer to the song that you're playing, and it looks really good with, you know, all different styles. So I figured, why pigeonhole into someone's sound? I don't even know harmonica players' names. I mean, I've heard a little Walter, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
but like, you know, I never really looked at it from that perspective. I didn't go searching out harmonica players to try to find out what it's supposed to sound like. I just looked up YouTube videos, how do you even play this thing, and then got a basic knowledge of it, and just tried to figure out how to match it to whatever we were playing. So there's no real, I don't try to mimic any sound. I don't.
Nice. How about you, Tim?
What's the question now? I was listening.
How do you have any influences like art or agenda that shape how you play?
I'm gonna say no. Not with how I play harmonica, because like being primarily a vocalist, I have a ton of influences there, and so with all my music being mostly original stuff, I'm playing to what my band is writing. You know, so when I'm picking up another instrument, it's just going to be to play to those songs mostly. And so I'm kind of writing the part as I develop the part. And since, you know, the first time I picked up a harmonica, I realized one, it was low, one, it was high, and everything in between was workable. And that's all I kind of need to know about, like, music and instruments. And so, with being like my whole life primarily focused on vocals and lyrics, which is what I mainly do, everything else just kind of came second, you know, playing guitar or learning to play any other instrument or something like that. And so I've never had to follow anything else. I've always just had a hey, you make that part up, right? And absolutely no practice or, you know, history behind it, I just do it. And so once a part gets laid out, I just do it the same way every time. And to me, it's not like I don't know. There's not a whole lot to it. Like once I write a part, I'm gonna play it the same every time. And it's just kind of how I sing. And I probably take that same approach as like I do with my vocals. Once your part is written, that's your part. And it's probably like not good for me as, you know, growing as a harmonica player, because I don't get out and I don't practice a lot, and I don't really take the time to study what it actually should sound like. And I mean, I couldn't cover anything, I don't think, except for run through the jungle a little bit.
Can I
sing it better though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think one of the like very important things there, Tim, right, is like I'll get like flagged a lot, right, at places, and be like, oh, like you're pretty good, right, like all these things, and I know we're saying that a lot, but like nobody aside from the people who were here when we were setting up have actually heard me play anything. So I'm sure we'll get to that, but like at the end of the day, like one of the things about the harmonica that like I think is like very cool is it really only ever needs to be kind of like what you need it to be, right? Where like I can do all sorts of stuff that like maybe you can't do, or maybe that you can't do.
Definitely.
Right? But like the way that you're talking about playing the harmonica, right? Like it was good enough for Bob Dylan. It was good enough for Billy Joel, right? It's good enough for all these people, and it's really funny because like for the longest time I like did not like Bob Dylan, right? Because I was like, that's what I was compared to every time I was like, oh, I play harmonica. Everyone's like, oh, let's play that song. Like, I still have my beef with Tom Petty because I've played his stuff way too much, way too much. Like I refuse to play, right? But like Bob Dylan just had his movie come out not very long ago, and I'm pretty good friends with one of the harmonica players who did all the studio work for that movie, and they were trying to do the Bob Dylan work on that movie. And he explained it, that was like, he very much felt the same way about Bob Dylan, but then he had to learn to play all the stuff that Bob Dylan was playing on the records, just the way he was playing it. And he's like, no, this is actually like way harder than I think a lot of people give it credit for, because it sounds very specifically Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so it only ever needs to be what you want it to sound like, right? And I think too many people get caught up in, you know, technique and what we need it to be and kind of like seriousness and practice. Like at the end of the day, the instrument is designed to kind of be really easy to play.
Right.
So like, if that's all you need it to do, then that's all you need it to do, right? It's more about the sonic frequency and the sound you want it to be and the contribution that you want it to be to the
And
music.
it's very personalizable.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a great point, because what he's saying is like actually so true about the harmonica. Whoever's playing it is the one that dictates what it's going to sound like, what it needs to sound like.
Yeah.
And that's a good point.
Yeah. I
For
mean,
anybody out there who wants to learn to play, remember that.
right. Now, we are kind of touch base on the next question, so I'll go to Steve on this one, because you guys kind of touch base on that next one. Is how does your harmonica fit your band sound, lead voice, and texture?
You know, to be honest with you, we haven't really used it much what we're writing now.
Okay.
But I mean, it fits in the sense of we're a melodic punk band. You know, we play a lot of, you know, basic chords. You know, it's not really too technical, so it does lend a lot of space for things like the harmonica. But we haven't really used it much for what we're writing now. But I use a lot of the stuff that I play about myself. So yeah, I mean, it works for punk, and it works for really anything you're going to throw it at. But I mean, it just depends on who's playing it, really. But yeah, it's something that I guess it's more me that's playing it. So like it's what's in my head.
Right.
I'm not playing the traditional style like he's playing. And even like he plays, he came over to the house and started playing stuff. I was like, I can't do that. You know, like, I can't do that.
Yeah, but he's doing stuff I can't do either.
Yeah.
And today, Steve, I really like your style, and especially with your music, it fits you very well. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Well, I'll say the same.
Yeah, let's go see Chasing Pennies.
And we've opened for Trevor Cast so many times. We've watched him play harmonica a ton of times, man. And he has effects that, like, I don't have a pedal board. I don't have effects pedals. I don't have nothing. I just play straight. But you see these guys, they take it to another level, man. They make it sound really cool.
I'm just playing through my vocal effects pedal. You know, it's not like Benny's doing here. He actually has a curated sound and a few different ways to change it. It can sound very unique, which we did experience earlier. And we hopefully will experience again tonight.
Yes, you will. All right, so what is the trickiest part about playing live with harmonica?
Can I start?
Go ahead, start.
Making sure your mouth is wet enough to not just fuck it up. You gotta get where you need to go, and you gotta get there with the right breath. It's tricky. With just one slip, one breath, it can sour a whole section. I don't know, would you guys agree or
Oh,
disagree?
absolutely, man. You draw instead of blow on a second, and you'll know. You know, like you said, it's so loud. It stands out so much that when you play wrong, everybody hears it.
The
I
right
play
notes are
wrong a lot.
louder than the right notes.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, I mean, I've played this instrument a lot, and one of the things I think that's still like the hardest about it is like, you know, sometimes I feel like I'm just fighting the instrument, you know, because the way that it's designed, like you have like certain notes in some places, and like if you want to get like other notes other places, you have to change like your mouth shape and like the amount of pressure you're putting onto things. And it's like, if I want to play 5 different notes, I actually have to approach each note like very, very differently, which I think is one of the dumbest things on the planet, right? There's another type of harmonica that I have back there called the chromatic harmonica. That's what you see Stevie Wonder play and a bunch of like the jazz guys play. And I've fallen in love with playing chromatic over the past several years, because on these things, on the small ones, on the diatonic harmonicas, you have to change your mouth shape and like work to get the notes. On chromatic, I can get any note I want by just pushing a button on the side of it, which is just like infinitely better. I'm like, man, if I was playing any other instrument, I wouldn't have to work nearly this hard. So like, that's one of the things I think that's hardest for me and becomes like very, very frustrating for me, is just like, to do something that like I see a guitar player do, I have to work, sometimes I feel like 3 times as hard to just get like a basic like lick out of something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I only play the diatonic, so.
Yeah, same here.
Okay.
Let's talk about chromatic what?
Yeah.
Well, later on I'll have you know, a little show and tell.
It's amazing.
Alrighty, so, alright, tell us about how a time a harmonica stole the spotlight in a live show. I mean, guys wouldn't be here if it didn't.
One time, I organized a show that my band couldn't play, and because my band couldn't play, I needed to fill more time, so in between other bands, I just fucked around with a harmonica.
There you go. It
And
worked.
everyone was like, how'd you learn to do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I just did it. I don't know. I guess that's a little, it was a very small place, so it was easy to steal that show.
Alright, Steve?
We used to have a one song that we played with harmonica, and it's funny because we'd save it for like second to last or last. And it's funny how shocked everybody is when the harmonica comes out, and it's, you know, so it kind of, every time we played it in a song, it kind of stole the show a little bit because it came out of nowhere. But I don't know if it's a good thing, if it was because I was playing it well, if it was just so different, but yeah.
Nice. Alright, about you, Jeff.
Yeah, so I think one of the funnier stories I have, I was down at Buzz's Bar and Grill in Olympia. I guess it's like Tumwater. I don't know exactly where its like county line is, but it's not the point. But I was out there and I was listening. I wasn't really listening. It just happened to be the band that was there on the night. It's like a rockabilly band called the Rooster Tails.
Heard of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, good band.
Yeah, they're like really good. They got like an upright bass and a guy playing guitar and a drummer, and it was like super cool. I was there. I was drinking at the time, and you know, the cool thing about harmonica is it's like very small. So I had like 5 of them in the car, and they were on a set break, and the guitar player caught me like checking out all their equipment because I was curious. But I just kind of like gear of any instrument, and he's like, "Oh man, you play guitar?" I was like, "No," and he's like, "What do you play?" And I was like, "Well, I'm a harmonica player." And he looks at me, he's like, "Go get it." And I run out to my car real quick, and I come back in, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I'll have you up at some point during this." And there was a lot of people drinking at this bar on that night. And he called me up, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I just found this kid tonight. I want him to come play some songs." I have no idea what we're playing. I have no idea the changes we're playing. I have no idea like the breaks in the song, like anything that's going on in this song. And this dude throws me a solo. Just kind of like haphazardly. He's like, "I want to hear what he has to say about it." And I just start just like ripping on this thing, and we get done, and people are drinking, like everyone's cheering, having a good time. And then we go again, and he throws another solo, and I'm like, "Bro, I'm out of notes, man. I got nothing else." I thought I was getting one, so like I used everything on the first one. He wanted me to play some more stuff, and I did. And we got through the song, and it was a good time. Like everyone just loved it. And like the whole like vibe of the place changed because they had already played like 2 hours of music with just their trio, and then I just added like a different dynamic level. And then like all my friends wanted to leave, so I went and paid my bar tab and disappeared. But yeah, it was a very crazy night. Very good band, and very nice guys.
I wish I would have seen that actually, because to see him play with Rooster Tails would have been a treat. That'd have been cool.
I have a video of it somewhere on my phone. I can probably show it to you after if I can find it. It's really funny because I'm playing through like the really old school like huge like metal mic that they have that they're like singing through, and it was very interesting. It was a very funny night. But I was also playing. This was I think 4 years ago or something, when I consider myself a lot worse 4 years ago than I am now.
Well, yeah, we were all a lot worse 4 years ago.
Yeah, we all were.
You wouldn't hurt me 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Even though this was 4 years ago.
And I thought it turned out like pretty okay for like what it was. I had no idea what was going on, and I was several drinks in at that point, so I thought it was okay.
That's a very cool story. I just gotta add that. That's cool.
Yeah. Steve, what about you?
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Tell me about a time a harmonica stole the spotlight in your live show.
Oh, yeah, just like I said, that we had that one song.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Well, the thing is that every time I see Tim play, I'm just like, oh my God, play again. Don't ever stop playing. Because I love hearing the harmonica.
Well, it's like one of the like funniest things about the harmonica, right? Is like there's no other instrument that like reasonably speaking, that somebody's like, yo, you got one in your pocket, come over here, right? Like, join us. And this happens like very frequently to me now at this point, where like I go somewhere and somebody's like, wait, you play harmonica? Like, come here, like, come play like a song with us. And I'm like,
Just a week or so ago, Steve and I were hanging out, we were watching some jams on YouTube where there's a couple of guys at an airport, and one just had a strip, you know, and somebody is jumping on piano somewhere. It was amazing. Yeah, it was really cool.
yeah, it's like something you don't find with like any other instrument, because it's like, yeah, man, I got my trombone in the car, right? Like, he's like, why? Right? Like,
Why not walk around with your trombone, right? I guarantee if you have your trombone, someone's like, play the song, dude.
yeah, right? Well, like, it's like most trombone players, like, I'm not carrying my trombone in the car. If I lose that, it's $2,000. Right?
That's true.
Right? Like, if I lose a harmonica, I mean, like, cool, I'm out like, what, like $80?
Yeah, but store-bought, but not some of the things you were carrying around over there.
No, custom made. Mine's like $35 per harmonica.
Fair
Still,
enough.
$80 is $80.
Yeah, I mean, like a bass harmonica, not like a bass freak, but like, you know, like just like group level harmonica is like, you know, I consider like one of the like better harmonicas to be like $60 to $80.
Yeah, that's reasonable. And you know what, and speaking with that, that's a reasonable price point to get into, see if you want to take up a hobby or learn to play that instrument. Less than $100 is worth, you know, do I want to do this or not? You know, and you can get something decent,
Just
see how
don't,
you feel about it.
just don't get hooked or you have to buy 11 more.
Or 14 more, or 40 more.
Yeah.
Music is an expensive habit, because don't ever get hooked on anything.
Yeah.
So is podcasting. All right, so has any of you ever did a challenge you to a harmonica battle, and would you win? He would win.
He would.
Yeah.
We had a battle, but he's bowing now. But
I think my answer is yes, and I will leave it at that.
I believe that.
I do too. All right,
That's all the proof I need.
all right, before we get into teaching me how to play, let's do a little hot seat questions. This is where I turn the question or the show around, to where you guys ask me one question each. So we'll go with Tim first because he's a veteran of the show.
Can somebody please get me a black cherry white claw? That's my first question. I'm thirsty up there. I mean, my buddy Josh over there, he's engaged, but. Let's see, Shels. What really got you so interested in this local music scene?
Every single one of you to touch my heart. You guys are so freaking talented, and I just fell in love with each and every one of you. I mean, I used to be a DJ right down the road here, and so I used to spin, and on Sundays we had live shows there, and that's where I got a taste of it, and I've been hooked ever since then. Ever since.
My man.
Woohoo! Could I get us another cider
All
beer?
right.
No?
We're talking again.
All right. So, Art, next question. Any for me?
Yeah, so keeping it like fairly like harmonica focused, weird coming from me, I imagine. But what I know a lot of people, for some reason, more than like anything else, right? Like I play with like guitar players, I play with piano players, I play with like horn line, sax players, trombone players, right, trumpet players. More than I think any other instrument, I kind of experience people saying like, oh my god, I love the harmonica and I've always loved the harmonica, right? From the sounds of what I've heard with like you and Tim, when Tim plays the harmonica, you want him to not stop doing that.
Right.
Right? And that's not like a dig at you, but like, why do you want him to not stop doing that?
I don't know. There is a feeling or a magic that comes over when I hear the harmonica playing, and I always wanted to learn how to play it. So this is kind of like gonna learn with you guys. It's kind of like a dream come true to learn now. So I don't know. I mean, I'm already a hand drummer already, so I just love the sound of it. I can't explain it. It's like magic, I guess.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. For like, it's something that I have a very hard time comprehending because like I've played so much harmonica that like oftentimes like I wish people just like wouldn't play harmonica, right? Right? So like I always want to like understand that frame of reference. I think the only other instrument that I've encountered where people are like, oh my god, I love that instrument is like when I'm playing with like these trumpet players I know, because for some reason people love trumpets. I don't know if like the overlap is just like the high frequency of it, right? Like the fact that you can make it scream, the fact that it's like so soulful, kind of like what about it, right? But like it's just very, very interesting to me.
Can I say something to that point? I think there are certain combinations of sounds and tones and the way that things actually like, not necessarily just their notes or their tones, it's the way that they break up when the sound hits your ears, you know, the fry that things have, and the way that they just kind of come out, that makes certain instruments just sound great together. And when a well-played and executed harmonica just has like so much to one note, you know, that it's very complicated and it's very pleasing to the ear. That's just what I think. There's just so much you can just one note of it. It's not just one note necessarily.
I'd agree.
Yeah, okay. All right, Steve. Any question, Kat?
Yeah, I got a non-harmonica related question. What was the hardest thing for you in starting a podcast?
Starting.
Starting? Just starting?
Just starting.
Okay, so that's cool. Okay.
Yeah. All right. All right, so, you guys got any Q&A? Got any questions for these guys before we do the jam session and teach me how to play?
Let's jam.
All right, so you guys are going to teach me how to play the instrument. Tim told me I need to buy this particular one, so I went to buy it over to Guitar Center. It was $50, and so they're going to teach me how to play, so teach me.
I figured that'd be something that could sound good for a little while without spending too much money.
Right?
Don't want to put you down the path of
So
some
how do...
plastic or something.
Yeah, I
Which
didn't
was
want...
my first set with plastic. And that was just to see if I could do it.
All right, so how do I start this?
It's in the key of C, right?
Yeah.
You told me to get C.
Yeah, so I think to do this right, we gotta give kind of give a little bit of context to it. So one of the most confusing things that I think you're ever gonna encounter is oftentimes when you're listening to someone play harmonica, it says it's in the key of C, but you're gonna be playing it in that particular instance, you're gonna be playing that one in the key of G. The nice thing about Lee Oscar harmonicas is on this side over here on this edge, it says what's referred to as second position, which is what the majority of like rock, blues, pretty much anybody who wants to play those kind of things is going to be playing it in. If you're playing it in the key that's written on it, that's called first position, and there's all sorts of music theory associated with that.
All right.
But by and large, when it was designed, give me one second. When it was designed, if you wanted to play it like the way that the Germans intended when they made it, is you would play it to play like folk songs, right? Like right, all of those things, right? Where you can play all sorts of folk songs. But when it came to the US, a lot of these people found out that by inverting your breath pattern there, you got a lot of notes that sounded good for the blues, right? And you got a particular chord that sounds very good in the blues. So one of the most intuitive ways that you can play it is you'll have your first 4 holes on the bottom. Just put like 3 of those like in your mouth and just inhale. Right? You can just hold it in your hand like this, right? And then you inhale. Yep. Yeah. Stay in one spot and just inhale. And stay like very, very relaxed and just inhale, like only inhale. You just keep your mouth like really open, right? Just cover the entire bottom part of it, and just put the whole sucker like in your mouth, right? Yeah. And then inversely, so just get like a really long inhale, right? And now do the same thing but blow out, right? Just exhale through it. Right, Okay, so just inhale, exhale, right? Like you just breathe through it. Yeah.
Oh, microphone, okay.
Yeah, the exhale's good. Just try to relax the inhale like a lot, right? Like not like you're sucking through a straw, but like you're just breathing in. It's better, yeah, right? Yeah, and that's kind of the basis of like the blues, right? So now we're just gonna add like one step to it, right? So on your inhale, I just want you to kind of like tap like your tongue to like the inside of your teeth, right? So like, so inhale with that very relaxed breath, and then just tap your tongue.
Like Hannibal Lecter.
Like you want to say the word like ta 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 ta, like sucking in, ta 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 ta.
Yeah. So we want to get that on both the inhale and the exhale, right? So yeah. Yeah, and try to give it just one tap, right?
Oh.
Ta 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 ta, right? Just ta 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 ta, right? Right, and that's really the foundation of like if you want to play like a blues groove like very acoustically, it's just a matter of kind of doing that rhythmically, and that's just something that takes practice, right? Where you can kind of get like these kind of sounds going. Right, that's just swinging that groove a little bit. You're very much just a drummer at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good.
That's just something to work on, right? Like you just kind of do that, and that's like the really basic part. And then once you get from that, you start kind of narrowing like your mouth shape there, and you start getting one hole, right? So you can go. Right. You get those things. Yeah.
I think that's the end of my lessons.
Nope. All of your notes are right there, and then it's just about becoming rhythmically, appropriate to what you're doing.
All right. I did not know.
It just becomes a groove, and you can find different grooves that kind of go along with that into like different styles of music. Yeah.
I'm going to keep practicing that. All right, before we do the jam session, you want to just do a show and tell and all the harmonica?
Oh yeah.
You want to do that real quick?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Let's just do a little show and tell all the equipment that he has, and then we'll do the jam session. Yeah. Can you give me a apple cider? Thank you. Yeah, the harmonica. All of them are.
I've seen people play really hard.
Yep. Yeah.
And I've seen some actually other two brothers that play playing and then slapping them.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. So.
All right, so what do you got here?
Yeah, so when it comes to harmonicas, right, there've been a bunch of like different kinds of harmonicas that have like existed over the years, and these are kind of the ones that stand the test of time. Very back in the day, they used to have groups called the Harmonicas, right, who used to be like harmonica-only trios, where somebody would be playing like a chromatic harmonica. Which is one of these, which has a button, and they're very good for melodies, right? So these are very much used in like jazz and classical music and things like that, because you have all the notes where some of the other harmonicas are kind of tuned to a very specific key. And some of them are very hard to play, anything on, because you need a bunch of additional techniques, but this has all the notes, right? Right, So it's very, very accessible to people. But oftentimes you can't just play that by itself because you need kind of like the essence of a whole band, right? So these harmonica quartets, you often have two chromatic players. You'd have somebody who'd play what they call a bass harmonica, which is this one here, and you have somebody who would play a chord harmonica, which is this one here. And the job of each of these people is basically to accompany the person playing the chromatic. So much like a bass player, you know, is playing the low-end frequencies of stuff, is they would be playing through what they call a double bass chromatic harmonica, where it's two-tiered, and you have to kind of work around it in a way that makes sense. It's very awkward and very clunky, but it sounds very cool. Right, and they lay down a lot of foundation for people, much like a bass player would, right? This thing's very, very hard to play. On every other harmonica, you can inhale, you can exhale, you can only push air out on these.
Well, that's interesting.
It is.
So then you need somebody to basically play effectively the rhythm guitar, and they're playing the role of the guitar and they're playing the role of the drummer because they're providing chordal reference and rhythm. So that's where these ones come into play. They're very long, they're very comedic, and they're very fun to play. So much like the exercise we did where you're just like inhaling and exhaling, right? And then I started giving it like rhythmic context.
Right.
These have various different chords. You have major chords, you have dominant chords, you have minor chords, diminished chords, and augmented chords all on this harmonica. So you can play almost any chord you would need to on this harmonica by just knowing where to go, right? So. Right, so effectively, if we were going to play something, this is a jazz song called Armando's Rumba that I worked out with somebody. We've never actually played it, but it goes something like this. It just repeats on itself, right? But you're effectively playing, you know, the chords and the rhythm and giving everything its feel, right? So those are the different kinds of harmonicas you can really run into. A lot of times those guys weren't playing through a big amp, they were just playing through a microphone like this, and then like I said, we ran into Little Walter, who primarily was playing the diatonic harmonica at the time. And he was playing it through an amplifier, just trying to get it distorted and getting that overdriven sound to kind of break it up and make it play like saxophone. Now when you get to more modern days, I have this whole pedal board here to kind of clean up the sound and get various different effects. Just, you know, to add yourself more context and get yourself more shows, I guess. Yeah, so.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pedals. I mean, you've seen guitar players having bass players, but I've never seen harmonica players have one, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I got the pedal thing from, once again, Jason Ritchie. He's kind of one of the pioneers of it. And a lot of the ideas is you can get very different kind of sounds out of your amplifier, because normally it would just sound something like this. Which is just a very...
It's not that that's a bad sound. That was great, man. Give this guy a hand real quick.
It's just a very warm, comfortable sound. It's very like traditional, you know, Chicago. But like at the end of the day, I wanted like a little bit of compression, and a little bit of delay so that you can really do a lot of other cool stuff if I don't want to play as traditionally. Right, it gives it a much more modern kind of cleaned up sound, which is good for a lot of things. That's how you get booked for more stuff. You sound like stylistically appropriate, right? Like if we were playing that kind of stuff, you know, like this very like heavy delay, like minor tonality sounding things, we're gonna fit in with a lot of metal groups, a lot of punk groups if they're doing that kind of thing. You know, a lot of different like metal stuff is played in all of those like minor keyed instances. And then we kind of went overdrive on it because we also run effects like this one, which is just a phaser, or not a phaser, it's a pitch shifter, which gives us various different access to.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's a great
Yeah.
effect, actually. I'd like to find out what pedal that is, because
That is
no,
called,
that is kind of makes it really nice. So it's not really good with what you guys are doing, Steve.
yeah,
that really would.
That's an Electro Harmonics pitchfork. There's a bunch of different intervals you can set. You can go even more octaves down, get even more bassy with it.
Can I ask you another question, Ben?
Yeah.
I noticed that the amp you're using over here it looks like a specifically dedicated harmonica amp. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is a Harpgear HG50. It came out of Florida. I had it.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah.
Are you not partial to something like the old Fender Twins or something like that? I mean, I don't think you get a lot of reverb out of it. You get a lot of little overdrive out of them and get a lot of that little that squeal up. I mean,
Yeah,
is this
so-
something that's more geared towards giving you the sounds that you're looking for?
This amp has been specifically balanced for a harmonica player,
Okay.
whereas like an old like Fender like Twin
Yeah.
will have some more aggressive tubes in it, which will cause a little
Right.
more feedback. I know that this one's
Is
been
it
specifically
tube or
balanced.
solid state?
It is a tubed amp.
Nice.
It is a tubed amp. But like if I'm playing a jazz show, right, I don't take this amp. I take actually a Henriksen. It's a jazz guitar amp. It's very clean.
No, very,
Yeah.
yeah, I understand. Like,
Yeah.
when I first started playing, I was using like a little tiny line 6, and I was trying to mic that because just the tone that it got
Yep.
was much better than playing through the PA.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that Little Walter very much pushed, right? Is that warm, overdriven tube sound. He was trying to sound like a saxophone player, right? And that's where you get all of these songs that are in the key of E, right? Right. It's got that warm kind of
Almost like a
fuzzy
hobo
sound.
sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But like even if I'm playing like a much smaller show, I have a 110 amp that I can drive really hard, right? And get really good breakup. And honestly, if I'm trying to get good breakup, I don't even use this mic. I use this microphone because it takes all of the effect pedals really well,
Right.
right? And it gives a very nice clean input for
Makes
that.
it nice and clear.
Yeah,
Not
but
like the old days when
Yeah.
you got your sound by overdriving an amp,
Yep.
you know, and really
Yeah.
just squealing through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the mic I have back there, I have an old school like bullet mic. It's not old school. It's made within the past year, right? But it's modeled off of the old bullet mics, where it gives it a lot of good distortion breakup. I don't run any pedals with that because like if I'm playing a blues show, I want it to sound correct. I don't need all the pedals to do that, right? So
Right.
Yeah, that's
it's-
what I use too, is a bullet.
Yeah, and it's great, and they have various different kinds of bullets. That's just the one that I kind of liked because I could get a custom paint job on it, and I know the guy over in the Netherlands who was making them, so he made it custom for me, and I try to support him when I can.
I would say you probably don't need any pedals. You just have them because you like the sound the way you do.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually this is the first time that this pedal board has left my house and actually been at a show in probably 8 months. I like never play with it anymore because like I got really obsessed with like the jazz like clean tone thing, where like I have this envelope filter which you heard me play earlier, which like I really don't need if I'm playing a jazz show, right? Like it does.
I can see how that would sound really cool on some jazz stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Popping it like the bass player does.
Yeah, right. It's really good for like funky like jazz stuff, right? But a lot of times I'm just playing like swing jazz standards in a place where I'm like, Probably not the most appropriate. And at the end of the day, like, I'm pretty lazy and I don't want to carry a bunch of gear that I don't have to.
I understand. Being a vocalist, I understand. I am lazy and I do not want to carry gear. I get it.
Yeah,
That's why I play harmonica, because it's little and fits in your pocket.
I agree. Yeah.
I think Benny said that earlier.
Right. All right, so you guys ready to jam?
Yeah, we can do some. We can have a good time.
All right.
I'm gonna need these guys to tell me what key I need to be playing.
Yeah, me too.
And ask me if I have it.
All right, you guys want to introduce the drummer though?
You want to introduce the drummer? I'm gonna let Steve introduce this guy. How about that?
Josh Rios, he's the drummer from Chasing Pennies. And my brother-in-law.
Hello. You too. All right, guys, this is the end of the show. Thanks you guys for coming out here and tuning in. Go to letstalkaboutthemusic.com,
can I just play
LTATM, and I have a store open. It's 5% off for all the store. So go check it out, and see you guys next time. Let's talk about the music, because the music is everywhere. Hit it, guys.
guys want to try a different key?
Yeah.
Let's try something different, man. Let's go. You want to play a D, maybe some drop like that? Nice, man. That was fun, dude. That was a lot of fun, man. All right, I don't know if we can top that, you guys.
for listening to Let's Talk About the Music. I hope you enjoyed today's topic. Remember, the show is more than just a podcast. It's a multimedia experience. You can enjoy the content as a blog, a both audio and visual format, or stay tuned to connect with other conversation. If you like what you hear, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that subscribe button, as that way you'll never miss an episode. Also, be sure to sign up for our newsletter for our latest update and exclusive content. Until next time, grab your headphones or tune in visually, and let's keep that music journey together. Let's talk music, because the music is everywhere.